Welcome to Deep Dive, the novel Aftershow. This is the podcast where we uncover the hidden layers, unravel the twists, and explore the worlds within words of the novels of, well, me, J. Kevin Tumlinson. Whether you've just finished the book or you're curious about what's inside, spoilers and all, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
All right, welcome to another deep dive. And this time you guys have given us the Forgotten Rune.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, this thriller, it's really captivating. We're dealing with a potentially history-rewriting ancient artifact.
Mm-hmm.
And what I find really interesting is how the story blends real archaeology, Norse mythology, all with this like really mind-bending mystery.
Yeah, what's really intriguing is how the Forgotten Rune starts with a location that's almost as mysterious as the artifact itself.
Okay.
The Sudaki Topanak temple in Turkey.
Right.
The book describes it as potentially older than the pyramids.
Wow.
Which immediately throws down the gauntlet to like established historical timelines.
It makes you wonder, right? Like how much of what we consider like settled history is really just the tip of the iceberg. Kind of like how our deep dives sometimes challenge your own assumptions.
Right.
But back to the temple.
Yeah.
The book says there's all this controversy surrounding it.
Yeah.
A lot of academics, they don't even want to acknowledge its existence, let alone its age.
The book mentions an attempt to excavate the temple back in the 1980s.
Really?
Yeah, imagine they actually started digging.
Wow.
But then funding dried up, forcing them to rebury the site.
Oh, that's got to be heartbreaking.
It is, and the story actually uses this to highlight that constant struggle between wanting to uncover the past,
Right.
but also that responsibility of preserving it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just the beginning. The book doesn't shy away from the dangers involved in excavating these ancient sites. It describes researchers working high above these ruins on rickety walkways, constant threat of a fall. You can practically feel that tension.
It's a subtle way of foreshadowing the dangers that come with unearthing powerful secrets, both literally and figuratively.
Okay.
But let's get to the heart of the matter,
Okay.
the artifact itself.
Right.
The book describes it as book-sized, made of some unknown material that could be metallic, and covered in these intricate lines that initially baffle everyone.
And this is where it gets really wild.
Yeah. Those lines, they're not just random scribbles.
Right.
They're identified as proto-runes.
Oh, runes.
Think Viking runes, but predating them by at least 10,000 years.
10,000 years.
Now, wouldn't that just blow a giant hole in our current understanding of Viking culture?
Absolutely. The story emphasizes the unprecedented nature of this discovery.
Right.
Proto-runes, this old, would completely rewrite our understanding of ancient civilizations. And if that wasn't enough, the artifact also pulsates with this orange glow.
What?
When connected to a power source.
Oh, okay.
They try a 9-volt battery at first.
Oh, wow.
Talk about an understated approach, but later they switch to a high-voltage industrial power supply.
That detail really struck me. It's like the story is telling us this isn't just some historical relic.
Right.
It's something active, potentially a piece of incredibly advanced technology. To study it, they even use a Faraday cage, which blocks electromagnetic signals.
Oh, wow.
Clearly, they're taking its power seriously. They have to. And speaking of power, the book dives into the specific runes found on the artifact.
Okay.
Ingwar, symbolizing protection and strength. Laguz, representing intuition and the unconscious.
Right.
And Nothis, which embodies self-reliance and survival.
Okay, I'm seeing a theme here. Strength, intuition, survival.
Yeah.
These aren't just random concepts. They suggest the artifact might be connected to some pretty fundamental forces. What really threw me for a loop was this Triune rune.
Yes.
Formed by the overlap of these 3 runes.
The book makes it clear that this specific combination of runes has never been seen before.
Really?
Which deepens the mystery surrounding the artifact's purpose and origin.
Wow.
And this is where the story takes a fascinating turn, connecting this ancient artifact to Norse mythology.
Okay.
Have you ever thought about how myths and legends might hold echoes of real events?
Oh, that gives me chills.
So how does this ancient artifact tie into Norse mythology? Well, the story introduces Yggdrasil,
Yggdrasil.
the world tree in Norse cosmology. Yggdrasil connects the 9 realms. Asgard, home of the gods. Midgard, which is our Earth.
Right.
Jotunheim, the land of giants.
Okay.
And so on.
Okay.
Like a cosmic map.
Right.
Linking different worlds and realities.
Are we saying that this artifact could be a key to these realms?
Yeah.
Like some kind of ancient interdimensional travel device? I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
That's exactly the possibility the story explores.
Wow.
And remember, Senator Ed Haskins, who disappeared 2 years prior?
Yeah.
That happened at the same facility where the artifact is housed.
Right.
The book suggests a direct link between his disappearance and the artifact's activation.
Okay.
Especially considering Haskins' fascination with Vikings and Norse mythology.
Okay, hold on. So let's recap.
Yeah.
We have this mind-blowingly old artifact with never-before-seen runes that glows when powered up,
Right.
potentially opening gateways to other realms.
Yeah.
We have a missing senator, a secret facility, and the story's just getting started.
And that's where things really take a turn, because in the book, the artifact is stolen.
What?
And we're introduced to a whole cast of characters who might be involved.
Oh, no.
First, there's Amir Yavuz, a researcher at the facility,
Right.
who becomes the prime suspect.
Okay.
Now, the book does a great job of portraying Yavuz's inner turmoil. He's driven by this desire for revenge
Okay.
against the U.S. government, which he blames for his wife's death.
Wow.
And this is where the story introduces that shadowy figure known as Demon Seed, who manipulates Yavuz into stealing the artifact.
Oh.
It's never quite clear who Demon Seed is or what their ultimate goal is,
Right.
which adds another layer of suspense to the narrative.
It's like peeling back layers of an onion.
Exactly.
You think you're getting to the core of the mystery, then another layer appears.
Right.
And then there's Joseph Barrick,
Yeah.
who is initially presented as an investor in this whole operation, but he's not who he seems.
Yeah, exactly. It turns out that Barrick is actually Lee Coben, a character from previous books,
Right.
known for his dangerous experiments and fascination with disrupting technology.
Oh, I remember that.
In fact, he was once obsessed with the plutonium
I
core.
can't remember that. Coben was a force of chaos, always pushing the boundaries of what's possible, often with disastrous consequences.
Right.
So what does someone like him want with an artifact that could potentially open gateways to other dimensions?
That's the question that drives the rest of the story.
Oh, boy.
And that's where we'll pick up in part 2 of our deep dive.
Okay.
Are you ready to explore the mind-boggling possibilities of interdimensional travel
I think so.
and confront the chaos that Coben might unleash?
Oh, I don't know about that.
All right. Well, we'll be back.
Okay, so we've established that the Forgotten Rune isn't just some Indiana Jones adventure.
Right.
We're dealing with potential interdimensional travel, a shadowy network of players,
Yeah.
and Lee Coben, a man who seems to thrive on chaos. What I'm really curious about is how the book explains something as complex as interdimensional travel.
Yeah.
Does it lean more towards science fiction or something more like grounded in actual science?
What's fascinating is that the story blends both.
Okay.
It draws inspiration from cutting-edge physics.
Okay.
You're probably familiar with the concept of quantum entanglement, right?
Yeah, sort of.
It's that spooky action at a distance
Right.
where two particles are linked no matter how far apart they are.
Yeah.
And what happens to one instantly affects the other.
Yeah, I remember reading about that. It always seemed more like science fiction than reality,
Right.
even though the research is real.
Yeah.
Could something like that really be used to create gateways between dimensions?
That's precisely what the story proposes.
Wow.
It suggests the rune might be tapping into these entangled particles to create a bridge between realms.
So it's not just about ancient magic.
Mm.
We're talking about potentially advanced technology based on principles we're only just beginning to grasp. Exact. That's both exciting and a little terrifying, right?
Absolutely. And the book takes it a step further
Okay.
by discussing the possibility of alternate realities and other dimensions
Okay.
existing alongside our own.
Right.
I know it sounds like something straight out of a science fiction movie,
Yeah.
but there are legitimate scientific theories exploring this very concept.
If those theories are even partially true, it opens up some mind-boggling possibilities.
Exactly. The book touches on the idea that these other dimensions might exist on a different plane,
Okay.
almost like layers on top of each other,
Okay.
and that we might not be able to perceive them directly.
So, like, we're living on one layer of reality,
Right.
and the rune acts as a key to access those other layers,
Yeah.
those other worlds existing just beyond our perception.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have this idea that the rune could be a key to unlocking other dimensions.
Mhm.
And that ties back to Yggdrasil, the world tree connecting the 9 realms in Norse mythology. It's almost as if each realm exists on a separate dimensional plane,
Yeah.
And the rune provides the means to travel between them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but all of this is making me question everything I thought I knew about the universe.
And that's the beauty of stories like The Forgotten Rune.
Yeah.
It's a fictional narrative, but it forces us to confront the limitations of our knowledge.
Right.
And consider the potential for hidden truths waiting to be discovered.
Now, while all of this theoretical physics stuff is incredibly cool,
Yeah.
I want to shift gears for a moment and talk about the characters.
Okay.
We have this whole web of shady figures manipulating events from the shadows.
Right.
There's Emir Yavuz, driven by a thirst for revenge.
Mm-hmm.
The mysterious demon sea pulling the strings.
Yeah.
And then there's Lee Coben, who's playing a much deeper game.
Right.
It's like everyone has their own agenda.
The story really highlights the complexity of their motivations.
Okay.
Yavuz thinks he's acting independently,
Right.
but he's clearly being used by Demon Sea. And Cobin, well, his motives are even more ambiguous.
Yeah.
We know he has a history of wanting to disrupt technology and sow chaos.
Right.
But his true goals with the artifact
Mm-hmm.
remain a mystery.
That's what makes him so dangerous, right?
Exactly.
He's unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
We know he was obsessed with that plutonium core before.
Right.
But is chaos really all he's after?
Yeah.
Could there be a deeper purpose behind his actions?
The book does offer some clues.
Okay.
It mentions Cobin's fascination with the idea of ancient beings traveling to Earth from another realm.
Okay.
Perhaps he's not just trying to create chaos,
Right.
but to actually open a gateway for these beings.
Okay, now we're talking about an entirely new level of threat.
Right.
So he's not just trying to escape to another dimension.
Right.
He's trying to bring something back.
Yeah.
What could be so important that he's willing to risk the fate of the entire world?
Well, remember those frost giants from Norse mythology?
Yeah, the Jötnar?
The Jötnar. The
Yeah.
book explicitly mentions Coben studying them.
Oh, wow.
Even referencing their home realm of Jotunheim.
Okay.
What if his goal is to unleash them upon the world?
Oh, no.
And what if that's just the tip of the iceberg?
Right.
What other beings might he be trying to summon?
This is giving me serious chills.
Yeah.
We have to find out what happens next.
Right.
The book leaves us with Coben disappearing with the activated artifact.
Mm-hmm.
We have no idea what he's planning or where he might end up.
Right.
And then there's Kotler struggling to recover from his encounter with the artifact,
Oh.
while Denzel and Simon try to track Coben down.
Right.
I can only imagine what kind of chaos awaits them.
And that's where we'll pick up in the final part of our deep dive.
Okay.
We'll explore the climax of the story, uncover the fate of the artifact,
Right.
and delve into the profound questions it raises about the nature of reality, the power of ancient knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
and the choices we make in the face of the unknown.
All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into the Forgotten Rune. We've
Yeah.
journeyed through ancient mysteries. Mm-hmm.
Explored the mind-bending world of quantum physics.
Right.
And uncovered a plot that could potentially reshape our reality as we know it.
Absolutely.
And now it's time to face the climax of this story.
The stakes have never been higher.
Right.
We left off with Lee Coben disappearing with that activated artifact.
I know.
His true intentions still shrouded in mystery.
Right, and while Kotler's in that Turkish hospital piecing together his fragmented memories of what happened when the artifact activated,
Mm-hmm.
Denzel and Simon are desperately trying to track Coben down.
The book describes how they managed to trace him to this remote location in Urfa,
Okay.
where he set up this makeshift workshop.
Right.
It's clear that he's been meticulously planning this.
Yeah.
Poring over ancient texts and research materials, obsessed with unlocking the full potential of the rune.
It's almost like he's become like a modern-day alchemist
Right.
trying to transmute this ancient knowledge into a power he can control.
Exactly.
And, given his history with that plutonium core,
Yeah. This can't end well.
no, his obsession is palpable.
Yeah.
The book portrays him as someone who's crossed a line,
Mm-hmm.
completely consumed by his pursuit of knowledge and power, no matter the cost.
And despite his injuries, Kotler insists on joining Denzel and Simon, believing that his understanding of the artifact might be the only way to stop Coben.
Mm-hmm.
This leads to that incredibly tense confrontation in Coben's hideout.
Okay.
The book does an amazing job of building suspense,
Right.
with the artifact glowing ominously in the center of the room,
Yeah.
Coben holding Denzel hostage at gunpoint,
Right.
and Simon armed with nothing but a broken stool leg.
Wow.
Talk about a David and Goliath situation.
The scene is electric with tension.
Right.
You can feel the desperation in Kotler's attempts to reason with Coben,
Yeah.
to appeal to some shred of humanity that might still exist within him.
But it becomes clear that Coben is beyond reason.
Yeah.
He's fully committed to his plan, whatever it may be.
Right.
And as he activates the artifact, opening a swirling gateway to another dimension,
Right.
he reveals his terrifying intention to unleash something from that other realm, something ancient and powerful.
Remember all that discussion about the 9 realms of Norse mythology?
Ah, yeah.
About Jotunheim and the frost giants?
Right.
Well, that's where the story takes its most shocking turn.
Okay.
The book describes these towering figures, the Jötnar,
Wow.
emerging from the vortex, their icy forms shimmering in the dim light.
It would shatter your whole perception of what's possible.
Absolutely.
But in the midst of this chaos, as the Jötnar advance, the artifact malfunctions.
What?
It seems to be completely random.
Wow.
It transports Kotler back to the hospital
Really?
and sends Denzel to parts unknown.
It's as if the artifact itself is rejecting Coben's attempt to control it,
Right.
lashing out in unpredictable ways.
And the book leaves us with a chillingly ambiguous ending. What happens to Coben?
Right.
Does he get trapped in that other realm with the frost giants he's unleashed? Is that his punishment? Or is it exactly what he wanted?
The book doesn't provide those answers.
Right.
It leaves us with this profound sense of unease, this lingering question about the ultimate cost of unlocking forbidden knowledge.
And what about the artifact? Is it lost forever? Or is it out there somewhere waiting to be rediscovered,
Right.
potentially falling into the wrong hands?
The story's ending serves as a potent reminder.
Okay.
Some secrets are perhaps best left buried,
Right.
but it also reminds us that curiosity, that drive to explore and understand, is a fundamental part of what makes us human.
The Forgotten Rune is a wild ride. It's a story that blends real-world history and mythology with cutting-edge science,
Right.
forcing us to confront the boundaries of our own knowledge and consider the profound implications of what might lie beyond.
Absolutely.
Well, that was another great deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for tuning in to Deep Dive, the novel Aftershow. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it with your fellow book lovers and leave us a review. And visit kevintumlinson.com/books to dive into your next adventure.